The 2023 NFL season kicks off tonight with the Hall of Fame game, the first game of the preseason. And what are the players that you need to watch? What young prospects that you need to keep your eyes on? We're going to tell you next on the Locked On NFL Draft Podcast.
You are Locked On NFL Draft, your daily podcast covering the NFL Draft. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Locked On family? Let's get locked in. Welcome back to the Locked On NFL Draft Podcast, your daily podcast covering your favorite draft prospects, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your boy, Damian Parson, always on the ones and twos. You can find and follow me on Twitter at DP_NFL. I'm a national scout over with the Draft Network, as well as the host of the Locked On Clemson podcast. Guys, thank y'all for making Locked On NFL Draft your first listen today and every single day, Monday through Friday. Thank you for being the family and our every single dayers. But my guy, Mr. LSU, Keith Sanchez, is back with me as always. You can find and follow him on Twitter at The Talent Code. Keith, talk to him, baby.
What's up, Locked On family? This is Keith Sanchez, senior draft analyst with the Draft Network, man, and 2019 national champ with those LSU Tigers, man. But you know why we're here, right? Your dynamic duo. We're here to bring you that championship level content. Myself, Damian Parsons, 24/7, 365. We don't stop, man. We keeping this thing going. We are deep into the heat of training camp battles. And after training camp, that means the season starts, right? But DP, this is the first week, man, of preseason football, right? We get the Hall of Fame game. We have the New York Jets versus the Cleveland Browns. And we wanted to kick this thing off with one of the most polarizing position battles as the New York Jets, right? They drafted Michael Carter a couple years ago. Then they drafted Breece Hall, right? Now they drafted Israel Abanikanda this past year. So we want to talk about this running back battle that the New York Jets have brewing in camp right now. We know Breece Hall, he's sidelined right now, recovering from the ACL, but it's still Israel Abanikanda and it's still Michael Carter in this backfield. So DP, we want to get this thing started off with just this Jets running back battle. Who do you foresee winning this situation, right? And who do you think would take majority of the snaps and impress throughout this process?
Well, as long as Dalvin Cook is not signed to the New York Jets, if Dalvin Cook does not sign a contract with them, and once Breece Hall is healthy, it's going to be Breece Hall as RB1 if all competitors are healthy, right? But just looking at it from the angle, like you talked about him being sidelined, this Hall of Fame game, I think right now, Izzy Abanikanda, the rookie, is behind Michael Carter and Zonovan Knight, from what I read on the depth chart.
I forgot to
right
mention
now.
Zonovan Knight.
They got
another
a lot of
name.
backs.
I
It's all
forgot to
good.
mention
They got a
Zonovan
ton
Knight.
of
But
you know,
that makes this race even more interesting, right? And so, like you said, preview to the Hall of Fame game. What are your expectations, right? Because Zonovan Knight, he had a decent year last year. Michael Carter, I think he's established himself as someone like you could call him a scat back, right? Like you can do some different things with him, short area quickness. And then you have the rookie Israel Abanikanda, who's that long speed, who, if he rips one, I think he's going to start the momentum of people be like, hey, that guy kind of looks like Breece Hall. So Jets fans, Cleveland Browns fans, NFL fans, period, right? Because everybody's probably going to watch this game because we just want to see some NFL football. What are the expectations from this Jets running back rotation that you foresee happening?
I want to, for me, I want to see kind of the pecking order, right? I want to see who is taking the first drive, the first couple drives, when I think Zach Wilson to be the quarterback, early on. Who's on the field with, quote unquote, the first offense of this preseason game, right? What running backs out there, and for Zonovan Knight, he's kind of the bigger body of those guys, kick return ability, things like that. Just for him to showcase why he should, and I think, put it like this, I think somebody's fighting for a roster spot at this point. I don't forecast or foresee them carrying 4 or 5 running backs, right? Like I think somebody's fighting for a roster spot, and truthfully, I think that might be Zonovan Knight. So for him, just go out there and prove why, like where his value is. Like, man, I can do multiple things. Catch the football out of the backfield, return kicks and punts, run the rock, stuff like that. But my eyes will be glued to the TV when Izzy walks onto the field, Keith, because you're talking about boom and bang for your buck. That's what he brings. That's what he would bring to this offense. Where even if truthfully, if he becomes RB2, you're comfortable because you really have two explosive backs in open field with him and Breece Hall that can take it the distance at any moment. So with Izzy, I just want to see him just play physical, man. Like now it's no more college stuff. You're not always gonna have all those runways. So if the gap is kind of condensed and there's a lot of traffic, can his feet and eyes stay paired together and find an alternate route, right? Be able to jump cut, slide, shuffle, find a way to get away from the traffic, right? I always talk about displacing linebackers and replacing them. If those linebackers overflow, be able to replace those guys, cut back lanes, stuff like that, man. So with him being arguably the best athlete available right now at that running back position, my eyes gonna be glued on him. And I think he has a very strong chance when this process is over to be the RB2 behind Breece Hall, but it starts tonight, Keith. It starts tonight in the Hall of Fame game. He's got to go out there and showcase a little more nuance than just being a runway type of runner.
Yeah, but I think that this offense, right? Because I felt similarly about Breece Hall, right? As far as being a runway runner, but I think this offense, DP, is going to provide Israel Abanikanda those runways, and that's what we've seen with Breece Hall, right? I think it was the game against the Broncos. I think that's when he tore his ACL, but he also had a big run, if I can remember correctly. But he ripped off some long runs, which looked like his days at Iowa State, right? Which were attributed to the offensive scheme that they had in place. Now it's a new offensive coordinator with the New York Jets with Nathaniel Hackett being there, but I'm hoping that they keep some of the same run game principles, right? And if it is, I think that's going to bode well for Israel Abanikanda. I'm expecting big things from Michael Carter. I think Michael Carter is who he is, and I don't mean that with a negative connotation, right? I think he's your third down back. You get him out in open field, he makes guys miss, right? Bam Knight, I agree, DP, that Bam Knight is the guy that he has to show, that he has some special trait, or that he's just the most well-rounded player. So he's going to have to catch the ball out of backfield. He's going to have to do pass pro. He's going to have to be a productive runner, right? He's going to have to do all three because, like you say, even if you get to the situation of this, and this may be the most, I don't remember exactly how this goes, right? But if he gets to the situation of, because Breece Hall is injured right now, right? And so, no telling what the standings with Breece Hall. So they may carry 4 running backs just because they need 3 healthy for week 1, right? And then you go week 1, week 2, week 3, and possibly Breece Hall comes back week 4. You don't want to be that guy that gets cut at that point neither. And then, even if you're talking about being on the practice squad or even having to go to a new team, because most likely you're probably the second or third option there also, and you're having to learn a new playbook. Now it's week 10 and week 11 before, like I talked about on yesterday's episodes, right, that the coach feel comfortable putting you out there in critical moments. So this running back battle for the New York Jets is the hot and heavy one. Like everyone's talking about Aaron Rodgers, and rightfully so, right? We're talking about the wide receivers and things like that. But how this running back room is going to fill out is going to be so interesting, just because
it's a big part of their offense, Keith.
Yeah, it's going to be a huge part of their offense because we know that Nathaniel Hackett, I have no idea if he's going to do the same thing he did with the Denver Broncos. And
I doubt it.
I'm going to leave that to him and Sean Payton, right, to have that conversation. But if he does, right, some of the same things, you're talking about 2 tight end sets. You're talking about 2 running back sets. You're talking about heavy run sets in order for them to be able to run the football, which I think that's what Nathaniel Hackett wants to do.
Yeah, I don't foresee him, with Aaron Rodgers back there, them two have a history. Aaron Rodgers going to basically call that offense. You know what I mean? He's going to call that offense exactly how he sees it. And Nathaniel Hackett's not going to say a word. He's like, go do your thing, AR. But I definitely think that, Izzy, even with the reports of him being essentially 3rd or 4th on the depth chart right now, like I think this is the game for him to kind of start, like you said, start that momentum, right? Start that campaign to say, I'm RB2, or if Breece Hall is out for the first couple of weeks, I'm RB1, and you can trust me in all facets of the game to catch the ball out of the backfield, be good in pass protection, not just scanning, but also standing there, manning up and taking and delivering a blow or a shot to a defender that's trying to come run free to get to his quarterback, whoever it is in the backfield. So I think everything is shaping up for him. Because like I said, we know what Michael Carter is. He's the spell you back. He's the third back. He's the change of pace guy. But that RB2 that could be RB1 to carry the load, they need to find out who that is. Is it Bam Knight? Is it Izzy? I'm not gonna lie, Keith. I'm predicting that Izzy Abanikanda will be that second back, unless there's another cook in the kitchen, meaning Dalvin. But I don't know what's going to happen with that situation. So I'm picking Izzy until I see what happens with Dalvin.
Yeah, man, definitely gonna set up for an exciting situation, and probably honestly is at the top of our show notes, right? It's probably because the number one thing we are going to be paying attention to in this Hall of Fame game. But DP, something else we're going to be paying attention to that's kind of flying under the radar. You already mentioned it, and that's this quarterback situation, right? We're talking about Dorian Thompson-Robinson, the young guy, UCLA, dual threat, mobile guy that really kind of fell under the radar, right, for the Cleveland Browns. Then what? Then on the other side, you have Zach Wilson, right? The guy that was supposed to make whoever quarterback come in.
Foreman number 2.
Yeah, he said I was going to make their life a living hell, right? Well, I don't think you're going to bother Aaron Rodgers. You're not unseen Aaron Rodgers. But the question is this, DP, simple as this. Is Zach Wilson done? Is he done being a starter in the NFL? And something like the Hall of Fame game, this is the best Jets roster that he would have had, right? This is probably the most direction Aaron Rodgers had the opportunity to kind of show him. So we're going to talk about Zach Wilson. We're going to talk about Dorian Thompson-Robinson coming up next. And like you said, simple as this. Is Zach Wilson done being a starter in the NFL?
These days, every new potential hire can feel like a high-stakes wager for your small business. You want to be 100% certain you have access to the best qualified candidates available. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the right people for your team faster and for free. So all you need to do is create a free job post on LinkedIn Jobs. Once you add your job, put the purple hashtag hiring frame to your LinkedIn profile to spread the word that you are hiring. They have simple tools at your disposal, like screening questions that make it easy for you to focus on candidates with the right skills and experience so you can quickly prioritize who you'd like to hire and interview. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs number one in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates that you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedonnfl. That is linkedin.com/lockedonnfl to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. I love the question that you ended segment 1 with. Is Zach Wilson done? Reports are that Zach Wilson will be even though Aaron Rodgers is not playing the Hall of Fame game. So Zach Wilson, being the backup QB, is going to be the starter essentially for the New York Jets in this Hall of Fame game tonight. And I don't believe he's done, Keith. I don't think he's done. I think that there's still.
I didn't expect you to be that optimistic. I'm actually surprised. I'm actually surprised. But go ahead, explain yourself.
If his mindset, if he is mentally, because he came in kind of. Let's not sugarcoat this. He came in kind of like a spoiled brat, right? Like, you know what I mean? He was drafted number 2 overall. Remember the quote last year? I don't think I hurt the team, even though he played very poorly in that game. Like, you absolutely hurt the team. But not taking accountability and things like that. And I think this might have been a humbling experience for him to where he can kind of reset himself, right? Put your big boy pants on and let's go out there and play some ball and kind of learn from a veteran. And I'll be honest, I felt like he was more of a project coming in to the league. Then the Jets really, I think they underestimated that. Where, like, you know what I'm saying? So now he gets the chance to actually sit behind an established veteran and learn. And this is opportunity whether it's with the Jets or not, Keith. This like we talked about with Izzy. You want to start the momentum to build that consistency of positivity for yourself. So, like, Zach Wilson comes out there, runs the offense, and it's not just about making the right throw and not throwing picks and stuff like that. Keith, it's the simple mental adjustments, right? Like if you see too high safety in a 6-man box, why throw it? Let's run the ball. Check to a run, hand it to whoever's in the backfield because you got the numbers advantage. If it is single high, one-on-one, right, and it's 7 to 8 men in the box, check out of that. No need to run it if you can find that you got one-on-one situation that you like, and the numbers game is not in your advantage for the run. So you want to see all those things for him. And I don't think he's done. I don't think he's done as a starter. I think he's physically gifted. He's talented. Man, it's just all from the neck up. It's all from the neck up for him, Keith. He's got to answer the bell mentally.
I'm going to pick up right there because that's where I actually wanted to start, was from the neck up, right? And I've watched So, at the draft, the Jets were another one of my teams, right, that I had to watch. So, like I said, I watched 10 plus games, and I don't even know if he played exactly. I think I know he was injured for part of that. That was the whole Mike White, Joe Flacco
Yeah.
situation last year. But watching Zach Wilson, and you said the neck up, right? That's the most important part for me because there is looking lost out there, right? And then there is just kind of playing, making bad decisions, right?
Mhm.
Zach, like Kirk Cousins from time to time, right? Everybody say prime time Kirk. Like, he'll make bad decisions from time to time. Dak Prescott makes bad decisions from time to time. Looking lost, that's what Zach Wilson was, right? Like it was almost like no idea of what is going on from a concept perspective, right? From the offensive concepts, and then knowing any idea what the defense is doing. Zach Wilson looked lost, man. And so I'm hoping more than anything because I remember, that video went viral, right? Of Dan Orlovsky breaking down just a simple slant flat combination, right? And Zach Wilson, I forgot what I think he threw it to the flat when the slant was open, or vice versa, right? It might have been an interception, honestly. I can't remember,
I think it
but
was a
it was just
pick.
little things like that because they went back to the same concept later in that game. That's what people don't know. When I watched the game later, I'm like, they did the same exact thing again. So I just want Zach Wilson to appear as though he's a student of the game, right? Like you said, like make the simple check out, run, okay? Walk up to the line of scrimmage and identify your safeties. Where are your safeties? Okay, cool. Let me know where the help is, right? Let me see nickel. Are there any free blitzes? Like if you can get through protections, I'm perfectly fine with that, right? Because like you said, DP, it seems like they threw the whole thing at him and didn't realize how much of a project he was, not only just physically, mechanically, right? Because you can work on those things, but the physical part is not going to work unless the mental part is there. And we've seen that time and time again. It's going to slow every single football player down. And in a game of inches and milliseconds and a half a second of thought process, that's an interception. A half a second of this, that's a missed touchdown, right? And that's not thrown with anticipation. So I definitely agree with you. But DP, let's flip it over to the other side of this, right? We talked about Zach Wilson. I don't think he's done either because there are traits there, and there are teams that run these similar offenses, and it's just there now, right? Like the maybe McConnell, right, in Minnesota wants to get his hands on him, right? Maybe the Dolphins, right? If Tua's injured again, maybe the Rams, right? Sean McVay may see something in him. So there are multiple offenses that feel like, hey, we can at least bring this guy in and see if a change of scenery would be a little bit better, right? You still have
Facts.
Kyle Shanahan taking swings on Sam Darnold, right? And Sam Darnold, he's with the multiple teams that done this. So
So you
I don't.
telling me there's a chance, Keith?
Yeah, there's always a chance, man. There's always a chance. But DP, I want to flip the coin real quick to the other side of the other team, right? The other team, like we talked about Dorian Thompson-Robinson over there and the quarterbacks that they have, the Cleveland Browns. Who is the intriguing guy for you that you want to watch that's obviously not Deshaun Watson, not the starter, but a backup that's going to get significant snaps?
Well, it's definitely DTR, man. I think the reports that Kellen Mond, who a lot of people remember being kind of, I think it was like a third round pick to the Vikings when they had Mike
Yeah.
Zimmer, and that just did not go well. Mike Zimmer like said he wasn't ready and everything like that, and I mean, kind of proven, I guess. But he's supposed to start this game, so for him, this is like a Zach Wilson situation where it's like, man, I can still play in this league, right? Can you carve out like a primary backup role, a QB2 role? Where teams feel comfortable inking you to a multi-year deal just to be QB2. But I'm excited to see DTR, man. Dorian Thompson-Robinson, an electric athlete, you know what I'm saying? Like in that kind of smaller QB mold, but he's got a good enough enough arm talent to make the throws necessary. But you talk about being an improvisational star, like that's what he does is use his legs. Like if you pressure him and he can get out of the pocket, he can extend plays. He can really hurt you with his legs and get those first downs and fit 10, 15, 20 yards down the field, but he also can keep his eyes upfield or downfield rather, and make throws and create second reaction windows for his receivers. So I'm excited to see DTR, man. I know that I was reading the quote how he's taken being an NFL quarterback so serious. He's like, man, I'm loving learning the nuances of the game, right? Something that he didn't really have the chance to do at UCLA. So now being in the NFL, yeah, I think he has a strong chance to become QB2 over Kellen Mond behind Deshaun Watson, right? And it's crazy because Kevin Stefanski has 3 athletic quarterbacks on his roster currently with Deshaun Watson, Kellen Mond, and DTR. All those guys can hurt you with their legs, but I'm excited to see DTR, man. I want to see him be able to air that thing out. Depends on which receivers are out there with him. I expect, hopefully, if he's healthy, Anthony Schwartz, who played at Auburn, the speed guy, speed demon. I want to see them kind of connect and things like that. Show that you can throw at all 3 levels: touch, timing, anticipation. I think the moments and the opportunities there for DTR.
Yeah, I agree with that with Dorian Thompson-Robinson, and I had that you mentioned how serious he was taking, right? And I want to urge all our listeners, man, to go to the Draft Network's YouTube channel, and because I had a video, right? We went out there in California for the QB camp, and I had the opportunity to interview him, and you'll just see how serious he is, right? Like, he's a serious demeanor guy. So this is a guy that I expect to make the Cleveland Browns roster. And I also expect him to be in the NFL a while. Like, I think somebody's going to get their hands on him and say that we have a potential draft day still. Like, one of those, and I don't know how good he will be, right? I'm not here to declare that. But, you just think about like a Tyrod Taylor or, some of those guys, those mobile quarterbacks that have managed to have 10-year, careers and, possibly lead a team to the playoffs and things like that. So that's kind of what I see for DTR. Like I said, the ceiling, I'm not sure, but I do feel like there's a real finite floor. And it's a high floor because of the professional that he is off the field. And DP, let's keep this thing going, right? And we have one of the segments that we started introducing, and we like talking about it, and it's spotlighting. But we're spotlighting one of the players that's kind of been setting training camp off, right? I've been seeing a lot of highlight plays. Some people say he can't catch, he can't high point the football, but we're going to talk about that. So coming up next, we're going to talk about one of the most polarizing names. I'm going to give you a hint. He was a first-round pick, right? He was a first-round pick, and he plays wide receiver. So coming up next, man, let's get into this new spotlight segment.
Where is the easiest place to play fantasy football and the best place for best ball? Underdog Fantasy. Guys, August is here, and you know what that means. The official start of fantasy football drafting month. Get championship ready for your home leagues by trying out Best Ball Underdog Fantasy. All you do is one live snake draft, no waivers nor any trades. Underdog sets your best lineup every single week. Try it out with Underdog's Best Ball Mania tournament. The largest fantasy football contest of all time is back and even bigger with $15 million of total prizes up for grabs, including an absurd $3 million going to the winner. Last year, the winner drafted their team in July, so don't wait around. Visit UnderdogFantasy.com to find them in the App Store and sign up with the promo code Locked On to get your first deposit doubled up to $100. That's Underdog Fantasy promo code Locked On. Quentin Johnston, TCU wide receiver for those Los Angeles Chargers. He was our wide receiver 1. And like you said, a lot of people were like, oh, he can't catch. He's a body catcher. Then you get to training camp, and he's out here mossing guys, right? Full extension. You know what I mean? Justin Herbert is clearly trusting him to make these outstanding grabs, man. He's been tearing it up in camp. And the athleticism, the speed, everything has been shown. I think what he said, he ran like a 4.5 or so. I think they said he ran a 4.49, the same thing that they said JSN ran at his pro day. We know that they don't run the same. We know that they're not the same speed. Come on now. So like, it's for me. I'm happy to see Big QJ out there balling, Keith. And I talked to our boy BC, one of his former coaches at TCU, and when he was texting during the draft cycle, he's like, man, I just need my guy to fall to the right situation, get him to a good quarterback, and he's going to really be able to showcase what he can do. Lo and behold, he paid to a guy that just got over $200 million, you know what I mean, and Justin Herbert. And Keith, I'm excited to see what he can do once we get to preseason, but he's been tearing it up in camp. There's multiple clips going around on social media of him just mossing guys, making great catches, separating at the top of his routes, down the field. And Justin Herbert loves to throw the long ball. He loves to stretch the field. So I think this was a match made in heaven, Keith.
Yeah, I just like the situation more than anything. And it's the situation on so many different levels. Just like the quarterback, right? That's like checking the box, right? Okay, he has the quarterback to get him the football, right? Then you're talking about the room, the wide receiver room. you have two veterans. You have Mike Williams and you have Keenan Allen to kind of pull them in and show them, man, this is how we practice in the NFL. This is how we run routes in the NFL, to help them with the playbook and things like that. And then the situation of him not just having veterans, right? But he have talented veterans. That's the third situation. And it's just the fact that he doesn't have to step in and be the number one, right? It's not like he have just a bunch of 8-year guys that, they barely play. It's like, no, these are Pro Bowl caliber as wide receivers, right? And so he's able to, like, the pressure is not there. So it's like, I can just go out there and do him. I am going to talk about this part, DP, that there are rumblings of drops, right? Like that, he's been dropping a football or something too. And it's like, that may just come with the nature of it, right? Like I'm not comparing him to a Hall of Famer, right? But
Jamar Chase had drops in camp.
Yeah, Jamar Chase and then Terrell Owens, right? Like it was multiple times in his career that he led the NFL in drops, I believe. Or he was like in top 5, top 10, right? Just in drops, but that didn't stop him from putting together a really good career. And so I think that Quentin Johnston is going to have that ability just because the athleticism, that what he has, that combination of size, speed, quick twitch, elusiveness, like that part is rare, right? That's the part that you're like, man, I'm not sure how many people have this. So that's the part that I'm still buying in on. And like I said, want the spotlight, and the spotlight is you can talk about it or you can give people their credit. And guess what? He's a rookie that's coming up into a situation and he's making really good plays. So like you want to give him his credit, give him a round of applause because he is stepping up to the situation. I think he's going to play a very important role. This Los Angeles Chargers team, it appears to me that, and this is not a knock on either player, but just talking about it, like somewhere throughout the season, Mike Williams and or Keenan Allen has an injury, right? Like whether it's like a 2, 3, 5 game stretch, right? Like it may be a point in the season where neither one of them is on the field or just one of them is on the field. So you can really look at him to where you're saying he's your third option, but he's probably like wide receiver 2-ish, right? Like 2.5, because somewhere along he's going to have to step up because one of those guys may have just a hamstring, a soft tissue injury, and he's going to have to play. And I'm extremely excited to see it.
No, I am too, Keith. And it's the Chargers just have a plethora of big body weapons with him, Mike Williams, Keenan Allen's also a bigger target. Josh Palmer from Tennessee is a bigger target. So they went full like power forward, small forward type, in terms of building up their basketball team at that receiver room, man. And like you said, like the situation for QJ is big because early on he could just be created as a mismatch weapon, right? Like just find, put him in spots where he's up against the third or fourth corner, right? And you get him isolated and allow him to attack. Then probably by, like you said, by that moment where it's like, oh man, Keenan Allen's hurt. Well, okay. Well, we got QJ, and QJ's a little more seasoned. He's not coming right out of the gate as a rookie, having to be wide receiver 1 and wide receiver 2. If he does have to step into either one of those roles, he'll already have hopefully 7, 8 games of under his belt where he kind of knows the speed of the game, the tendencies of NFL corners, and because we know that the NFL corners are a little bit different than those Big 12 corners, right? Like those guys gonna play man-to-man coverage, they're gonna get in your face, they're gonna be physical with you. And for a guy that's 6'4", 210, 215, that we actually know is probably his miles per hour time is probably around 22 miles per hour, not no 4.49 or whatever they ran. Like I'm excited to really see this young man just ball out, man. He's in a perfect situation. And the Chargers, they just did it again. They just did it again, man, getting another high-level football player.
Yeah, I agree. DP, look, that wraps up this show, right? We're talking about the Hall of Fame game preview, man. We just previewed the Hall of Fame game. We got to get some excitement going, DP. Yes, we're here. We get preseason football, man, later on. So we get the Jets running back battle. Like we said, man, make sure y'all tune in and let us know. After the game, y'all comment under here. Y'all comment to us, right? Like we said, hit us on Twitter. Talk to us because we talk back. Let's talk about this Jets running back battle. Who you foresee being running back 1, 2, and 3, and who could potentially be the cut candidate when it comes to that situation. And then quarterbacks, right? Is there any optimism left with Zach Wilson? And then, like we say, Quentin Johnston. If you agree with us, disagree with us, man, comment, holler at us, talk to us. Like we say, talk to us because we talk back. But that wraps it up.
Nah, man. Listen, go subscribe for free on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Get the latest episode as soon as it's available. In terms of YouTube, guys, continue to grow the channel. We appreciate it. We've seen those subscribers continue to increase. Go subscribe, like, comment under the videos. Hit the bell notification so that you are notified every time we drop content, all right? Like I said, tomorrow on Friday, Good Friday, Happy Friday. Me and Keith are going to be back, and we're going to recap what happened in the Hall of Fame game, right? We're going to talk about the results of that game and who stood out, who lost some momentum, what have you. We're going to discuss those things. In terms of Twitter, you can find Keith Sanchez at The Talent Code. Me, Damian Parson, DP_NFL. Talk to us because we talk back. Come and join the conversation again tomorrow on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.